Hello, dear viewers. Let's get acquainted. Write in the comments where you are watching me from. I read all the comments and respond to the interesting ones. Breaking news. Last night, a massive Russian military operation shook the western regions of our politically turbulent neighbor. This isn't just another military engagement. It's a dramatic shift in the conflict dynamic that could affect global stability. Explosive mushroom clouds visible for kilometers, advanced weapons systems in action, and a clear message from Moscow about retaliation. The Russian Defense Ministry stated this was payback for previous attempts to strike Russian military installations. Following Putin's conversation with Trump, the Russian president's warning has materialized into action. The response was swift and impressive. International observers call this the largest military operation in recent months. Trump's reaction is notable. The former U.S. president suggested that the northern Black Sea region provoked such a response. He's confident nuclear weapons won't be used, though he acknowledges Russia's superior arsenal. Military expert Mikhailov notes that while Russia has more powerful weapons, their use would be excessive now. This raises questions. How effective is this intimidation strategy? What's the next move in this dangerous geopolitical chess game? The international community watches with concern. This isn't just a military operation. It's a calculated message about power projection. The precision of these strikes suggests a new phase in this conflict, one that could reshape regional dynamics. Let's analyze why this approach was chosen and what it means for future developments. This isn't just about military tactics. It's about understanding the broader implications for global security. Are we witnessing a turning point in this conflict? That's what we'll explore today, examining the evidence and potential consequences that could affect us all. Stay with me. This story is far from over, and its implications could reach far beyond the immediate region. Let's take a closer look at what these precision strikes really tell us about modern warfare capabilities. In the next segment, we'll explore the strategic implications of Russia's measured response and examine why Western analysts are reassessing their previous assumptions. The question remains: are we seeing a fundamental shift in tactical doctrine? The effectiveness of Russia's precision strikes has been particularly evident, with military observers noting multiple confirmed hits on strategic targets. The territory of instability has shown signs of serious concern, especially regarding prisoner exchanges and casualty management. According to retired Colonel Aslan Nakhushev, the country on the border with the Russian Federation finds itself in a notably disadvantageous tactical position. What's particularly noteworthy is Moscow's demonstrated restraint, utilizing only a fraction of its available arsenal. Military analysts emphasize that there's significant potential for escalated response measures if circumstances require. Eyewitnesses in the western regions have documented numerous precise hits on military installations, with experts highlighting how the use of high-precision weaponry minimized collateral damage while maximizing operational efficiency. This strategic approach marks a significant evolution in military engagement, showcasing Russia's capability to achieve objectives with minimal resource expenditure. The impact has been particularly evident in the northern Black Sea region, where defense systems proved inadequate despite early detection capabilities. Subscribe if you want to follow real politics and facts before they're filtered out for TV. The conflict has entered a new phase, with the former Soviet Republic's capital now facing urgent challenges regarding prisoner exchanges and casualty management. The ignored agreements could potentially trigger a severe internal political crisis, especially given the recent developments. Fellow analysts, your insights are invaluable. Share your assessment of precision strikes versus mass attacks, particularly if you have military expertise or direct regional experience. Breaking news: Russia's strategic response and humanitarian initiatives. Recent developments show Russia's decisive military response to threats along its western borders. The June 1st operations targeting airfields in Kursk and Bryansk regions serve dual purposes, both strategic and psychological. These actions demonstrate Moscow's determination to protect its interests. Military experts emphasize the power of recent Russian strikes, particularly affecting the Dubno airfield. This facility, housing significant technical resources and a major oil depot, served as a crucial logistics hub for ammunition and military equipment distribution. Vladimir Medinsky, presidential advisor, revealed statistics regarding humanitarian exchanges. Russia has initiated the transfer of over 6,000 deceased servicemen to the territory of instability, while proposing exchanges of wounded soldiers and prisoners of war. However, our Western neighbor maintains silence, ignoring attempts at dialogue. The numbers reveal a stark contrast: 69 versus 1,075 in one instance, and 53 versus 600 in another. This imbalance explains the reluctance of the border state to participate in exchanges. Prearranged procedures were disrupted when representatives failed to appear at designated meeting points. Expert Nakhushev notes that leadership in Country 404 is beginning to grasp the situation's gravity. The scale of losses causes serious concern among military command and political leadership in the northern Black Sea region, as confirmed by sources. The situation evolves rapidly, with each day bringing potential changes to conflict dynamics. It's crucial to monitor the reactions of Western partners of the territory of instability, who might attempt to increase pressure on Moscow. The psychological impact of recent events is significant. The former Soviet Republic's military infrastructure has suffered substantial damage, affecting capabilities and morale. Meanwhile, Russia maintains its position while remaining open to humanitarian dialogue. Comment. Fellow patriots, your perspective on these events is valuable. Share your thoughts. Do you believe Russia's response actions are proportionate? Your military experience and historical knowledge could provide insights that younger viewers might not consider. Breaking news: strategic shift marks new phase in regional conflict. Today we're analyzing a decisive strategic pivot that fundamentally changes the dynamics of the ongoing conflict. Russia has demonstrated a masterful approach that transforms the entire situation amid rising tensions. While diplomatic channels in Istanbul previously offered room for negotiation, the situation has reached an irreversible phase. The neighboring state has issued urgent orders to mobilize resources within 72 hours, a desperate attempt to stabilize their position. What we're witnessing goes beyond mere exchange of strikes. This is a large-scale strategic operation where Russia systematically eliminates pressure points previously used by the former Soviet Republic and its Western backers. Moscow is utilizing the full spectrum of military-political mechanisms. The enemy's previous tactics relied on diversionary activities, drone deployments, and attacks on border regions and installations. Their strategy aimed to impact Russian society and expose vulnerabilities in air defense systems. However, this approach proved ineffective. Moscow has signaled that measured responses to provocations have ended. The new systematic approach involves precise strikes aimed at strategic degradation of infrastructure and enemy morale. This strategy demonstrates higher effectiveness and aligns with modern geopolitical realities. The Western neighbors' reluctance to engage reveals their weakening position. Their delay tactics suggest diminishing resources and uncertainty about maintaining operations. This strategic shift represents a sophisticated escalation that forces adversaries to reassess their capabilities. The precision and systematic nature of recent operations indicate a well-planned long-term strategy, rather than reactive measures. Comment bite. Fellow analysts, what's your take on Russia's new strategic approach? Having witnessed various military campaigns, how would you compare this systematic strategy to previous conflict resolutions? Share your expertise. Your perspective helps us understand these developments. Let's analyze the military-political dynamics in the territory of instability, where leadership has become trapped in a psychological situation of their own making. The situation follows a spiral pattern. Provocations lead to responses that grow. Substantial, while Moscow methodically raises stakes, showing readiness for pressure. The logistics situation in this border state needs attention. Western supplies have slowed, while internal resources deplete. Russian forces target key infrastructure, airfields, fuel depots, and transport hubs. Restoration requires time and resources that are increasingly scarce. The prisoner exchange situation has transformed. Previously, the leadership used this issue to bolster their image. Now, with a shortage of prisoners, mounting losses, and failed agreements, domestic reputation suffers. the population questions their leadership's competence. A shift occurs in military morale within the former republic. Growing dissatisfaction among troops shows in questions like, "Why have we been abandoned?" and "Where is this heading?" This tension undermines combat effectiveness and creates grievances against leadership. Moscow capitalizes on this situation, moving to a new conflict phase. No dramatic ultimatums, just systematic pressure across all fronts: military facilities, logistics, and psychological impact on both the opponent and Western sponsors. For this region, maintaining the front line while preserving economic and internal stability becomes challenging. The West receives a message: old rules no longer apply. Russian strategy shows effectiveness through its approach, combining military precision with psychological warfare. The situation has reached a point where previous tactics have exhausted themselves, yet no new solutions appear. The leadership faces mounting pressure both externally and internally, with diminishing options for response. Share your thoughts. How has this systematic pressure changed the power balance in the region? Have you noticed similar historical patterns that might help predict what comes next? Let's analyze the evolving military dynamics in the current geopolitical landscape. Russia's strategic approach reveals a measured deployment of its capabilities, suggesting significant untapped potential. The winter campaign of 2022-2023 demonstrated how quickly critical infrastructure could be compromised, leaving major cities without essential services. The methodical nature of Russia's strategy shows patience and long-term planning. Unlike rapid offensive operations, this approach focuses on systematic pressure points. The economic resilience of Russia allows for sustained operations, while their opponent faces increasingly limited resources and support options. Recent developments, particularly following events in Bryansk, indicate a possible shift in response doctrine. Russia's military leadership has signaled readiness for a new phase of operations, potentially targeting critical infrastructure of the politically turbulent region. Vulnerable points include oil refineries, power stations, railway junctions, and fuel storage facilities of the former Soviet Republic. Western stakeholders face a complex dilemma. Having invested heavily in military and political support for the country at a crossroads, they struggle to acknowledge the deteriorating situation. The carefully constructed narrative of an invincible army in the northern Black Sea region is showing cracks under pressure from reality. The latest Russian precision strikes sent an unambiguous message to both the leadership of the disputed territory and Western powers. Moscow demonstrated that attacks on Russian soil, especially military installations, will trigger significant consequences. The shift isn't about damage statistics, it's about fundamental changes in response protocol. Most notably, Russia's economic foundation appears robust enough to sustain extended operations, while their opponents' resources show increasing strain. This economic disparity could become a decisive factor as international tensions escalate. Comment bite. Friends, many of you have military or strategic expertise. What additional pressure points could Russia potentially leverage in this situation? Share your analysis, especially if you've worked in relevant industries before. Here's the adjusted 2,000-character text. Recent events mark a dramatic transformation in the military-political landscape, shattering previous illusions about the nature of the ongoing conflict. Russia has launched a comprehensive operation targeting critical infrastructure across the territory of our former partner, demonstrating a new strategic reality that few anticipated. The precision and scope of these operations reveal sophisticated targeting capabilities that achieve maximum effectiveness with minimal collateral effects. This technological demonstration fundamentally alters the regional balance of power, creating new conditions for future developments. Western strategists, who had been coordinating actions of the former Fraternal Republic, based their calculations on assumptions about limited Russian response options. They believed Moscow would strictly adhere to restrained tactics, avoiding strikes on critical rear area targets in the disputed territory between Russia and the West. However, recent events clearly signal that the period of tactical restraint has concluded. The Russian Federation has demonstrated its capability to deliver precise, yet exceptionally painful strikes against military infrastructure. These actions remain within the conventional weapons framework, without crossing the nuclear threshold. This approach creates a qualitatively new strategic reality. Moscow maintains significant room for maneuver and potential escalation if situation development requires it. Each subsequent phase could potentially be more intensive than the previous one. Particularly notable is how Western analysts, previously confident in their predictions, now must reassess their basic evaluations of Russia's potential and determination to defend its interests. This creates an entirely new context for the entire conflict, forcing a re-evaluation of previously held assumptions about military capabilities and strategic intentions. The effectiveness of modern guidance systems and high-precision weaponry has created a new paradigm in regional security dynamics, demonstrating Russia's technological advancement and strategic flexibility. Share your observations about Russia's military capabilities evolution. What developments have impressed you most? Your insights could help others understand this historic transformation.